conference will now be recorded.
New year. I would like to call this Central Texas Regional Transit Advisory Group meeting, the first of the year, to order. My name is Ben Lopez. I'm the new chair for this year, so I'm looking forward to that. Filling Melissa's big shoes there, so thank you for. I just wanted to come back, and she graciously said, "Hey, I look at the chair." Very good. So in keeping with the Open Meetings Act, we want to make sure to see if there's any public comment before we move forward. Is there anybody online for public comment? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move to the next item, number 3. One of the things that I asked Anita to do this for this meeting is to add an introductions agenda item, just to make sure that we all know who each other are and where we come from. So if we can just take a moment to just introduce yourself, what organization you represent, and maybe how long you've been there, I think that would be great. We'll start with Tony on your end. We'll work clockwise. How about that?
Great. My name is Tony Austin. I'm with Hill Country Transit District. I am the Director of Public Engagement. I was formerly the Director of Rural Operations, and I've been with Hill Country Transit for 23 years.
Thank you, Tony.
Hi, Felicia Holland. I'm from Habitat for Humanity, also represent the community.
Good morning. My name is Cliff Montemare, CEO and co-founder of Ride and Safe Non-Emergency Transportation.
Thank you, Cliff.
Good morning, Chris Aguizio, Director of Operations at Seton Medical Center, Harker Heights. Been with Seton Harker Heights for almost 9 years now. Thank you, Chris.
Good morning, Melissa Angriola, Heart of Central Texas Independent Living Center, Executive Director and previously CFO. I've been with them 16 years.
Thank you.
Me, Ryan Nelson, the Director of Planning here at the Central Texas Council of Governments.
Shannon?
Me? Oh, Shannon Wildheart. I'm with the Central Texas Housing Consortium, and I've been there for about 3 years.
Anita Janke, and I'm staff with Central Texas Council of Governments, and I've been here for 5 years in planning 3.
Perfect. I'm Ben Lopez. I'm the director. I'm with Workforce of Central Texas. Excuse me. I'm the director of our Temple, Cameron, and Rockdale Workforce Centers, and I've been with Workforce for 28 years.
Daryl Bertner, I'm the Assistant General Manager at Hill Country Transit District, and next month I will have been there 9 years.
I'm Rhonda Kelton. I'm with Central Texas Rural Transit District, and I've been there 27 years.
Morning, I'm Terry Mustapher. Bring everyone in the zone. I've been with them 17 years.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Jones. I'm with the Bell County Child Welfare Board. I've been on there for about 15 years.
Hey, Phyllis.
I'm Susie Mark. I'm with Friends for Life, and I've been there about a little over.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is George Osoya. I'm the Director for the Area Agency on Aging, and I've been here in CTCOG for 6 years.
Perfect. I know we have some guests, and also we know we have some Central Texas Council of Government staff in the back. I'd like you to introduce yourselves as well, and then our guests.
Hi, I'm David Rodriguez. I'm the regional planner here. And
Ashlynn Uschek. I'm also a regional planner at Central Texas Council. I'm Kelly Tollitz, and I'm a regional planner at CTCOG.
Morning, everybody. My name is Tony Shelton. I currently serve as the Community Relations Liaison for Heart of Texas Goodwill.
Tom Wilson at the Central Texas Council of Government, Area Agency on Aging, been here since 2009.
Walt Murphy, A&M Central Texas, been there for 15 years, and we have 2 visitors from there as well. Jack Kirk, I'm the A&M Central Texas, I'm the Associate Provost for Research and Innovation. I've been there 21 years.
Hi, I'm Sandy Blackwell, and I work for the University Center for Applied Research and Engagement, and I've been a director in that position for about 1.5 years. I have worked in different capacities at the university for 9 or 10 years.
Okay, thank you all very much. Everybody? All right, thank you very much for accommodating me on that. I think it's important for us to know who we are. And online, thank you, George. I want to make sure I know we have some board members. Sorry. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Can y'all show their image, please?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. For those who are online, I'd like you to do the same. Introduce yourselves, who you're with, and what organization, and how long you've been there, please.
I'll start. Stephanie Dozier. I'm the Director of Data Analytics, and I'm also the Disaster Coordinator for Sarasota County. I'm with Hill Country Community Action, and I'll have
2 years in January.
Thank you. Anyone else online?
Latrice
I'm
McClellan.
Alicia Alvarez. I'm the public transportation coordinator for CTCOG.
Latrice McClellan. I am the research administrative development at Central Texas A&M Central Texas here. I've been here various positions for almost 10 years.
Thank you, Latrice. Thank you, Stephanie.
Tay Floyd, I'm the GIS specialist for K-Tempo and CTCOG. I've been here for about 3 years.
Okay, thank you, Tay. Okay. Thank you again for accommodating me and introducing everyone. I think it's important, since we only meet quarterly, to know who we are. So thank you. The next action item is regarding approval of minutes from October 7th, 2025. The meeting minutes are available in your packet. I'm sorry, they're not in your packet at this time.
My apologies.
They are in your Outlook calendar, as Anita just reminded me. So unless there's any discussion on the prior meeting notes, we can move forward with a motion to approve. Otherwise, we can discuss if we need to. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Second. Thank you. All right, thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Sarah. Action number 5, discussion and action item regarding recommending approval of bylaws to align with the fiscal year 27-31 Regional Public Transportation Coordination Plan. Anita.
Thank you so very much. We've been working on the bylaws for about 4 or 5 months, and those are in your packet. The primary revisions were principles and policies. We added an exhaustive glossary for clarity. Article 1 formally adopted the IJA as guiding legislation. This is where the big changes come in Article 2 for purposes and objectives. We separated those out. As I did an in-depth review of those, I realized that we really wanted to have a specific purpose. And if you go to your packet on page number 4, our primary purpose is to serve as a collaborative forum to address transportation needs across the region, with a focus on removing barriers and generating solutions through innovative conversations aimed at closing unmet mobility gaps, while providing a structured process for ongoing input from stakeholders, including users of community transportation services. So that would be our primary purpose. And also, in addition to serving our target population of seniors, individuals with disabilities, low-income residents, veterans, and other underserved communities, we want to also enhance our economic vitality by providing transit options in rural communities that provide access to jobs and employment opportunities. And then the second part was the primary objectives. We removed those out and looked at how they could be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound to the best of our abilities. So those are outlined. A lot of those, the foundation was from the previous bylaws, and then we also expanded some of the language in there. We also expanded, we started off at 20. In our last meeting, we talked about 20 and adding in for-profit transportation providers. To have an odd number, we went ahead and increased that to 21 voting members with a specific transit user or organization that could fit into any of those categories, or actually be an other representative. In Article 7, we moved the elections for our chair and vice chair to the last quarterly meeting of the federal fiscal year. And in Article 10, we increased the opportunity to review these bylaws when we make a change to 10 days from 1 day. And so these bylaws, if they're approved today, they'll go to our executive committee, the CTCOG executive committee, I think towards maybe February, in February. So if there's any changes that you see, please email them to me and we can hold off on that. We can have some dialogue via email to get clarification. Do y'all have any questions so far on those bylaws? No, we did a lot of communicated on them at the last meeting. Really get your thoughts and ideas in there.
Give me a couple of moments to look those over to see if there's any discussion points. Okay, any discussion points we need to discuss before we move to a potential approval recommendation? Okay, so at this point, I'd like to consider recommending approval of the proposed bylaws, which will be ratified, as Anita said, by the CTCOG Executive Committee. Is there a motion to move forward to approve?
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Cliff? Terry, thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ryan. And he reminded me that we need to take an actual vote. So voting members, with a show of hands or an aye. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those nay? Okay, thank you very much. Discussion item number 6 regarding a presentation on establishing and maintaining a volunteer driver program. Presenter Marianna Hanefeld, WS Department of Transportation, Public Transportation Division. Do we have Marianna online?
Do you mind if I share a little bit about her? Thank you. I had the opportunity to be in a workshop at the RTAC conference in December, where Marianna presented on the volunteer driver program. And y'all, we are so blessed to have this lady. She is really top notch. She has been developing volunteer driver programs for a very long time. In February, they're going to be hosting a tutorial or webinar on the actual volunteer driver handbook, how to use it, so that as we continue to work towards improving transportation in our region, that we would have already the state-of-the-art framework to complete this. It's, so I'm super excited about it. And Marianna, go ahead and take it away.
Good morning.
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 Oh, great. I'm so glad you can hear me. That all is well, right?
Right.
Oh, good. All right. So Anita, are we ready to go? I'm sorry if I was a little late here.
Yes, ma'am, we're ready. I introduced you, and we're super excited to hear what you have to share with us.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. And I'm really excited to be here. I had a wonderful chat with Anita at the National RTAP conference. I'm honored that you would even ask me to come and share. Volunteer driver programs are near and dear to my heart. I have worked in the state of Washington now for just over 5 years, actually approaching 6 now. But I've been working on volunteer driver programs by supporting them. And actually, I became envisioned about volunteer driver programs when I was a mobility manager in one of our counties just north of the city of Seattle. And there's a lot going on in volunteer driver programs, but I will say that probably the very first thing I want to share with you is a little bit of history. And so let's see, Anita, is there a possibility to share my screen real quick?
Callie, can we share her screen? Yes, Marianne.
Okay, hang on just a second. I actually thought I had that up and I didn't, so hang on just a moment and let me go grab it. There it is. Okay. Needed to open this. And hopefully you'll be able to see this. Let's see.
Marianne, we do have your PowerPoint up on another screen in our meeting room, if that's what you're looking for.
No, I'm actually not. Oh, and I do want to do that. Okay. But that's okay. Just a minute. Just double checking that I can find it, but it doesn't appear on your platform that I'm going to be able to do this. I'm probably going to be able to share my online, but not this particular PDF. So that is okay. So that's fine. What I wanted to just tell you about then is the history of the Volunteer Driver Guide in Washington State. In the early 2000s, we were doing a lot of work in coordinated transportation. And that particular work was led by our now Public Transportation Director, Don Chartok. Don and a number of others worked together in a coalition because they recognized that volunteer driver programs were something that were very organic in nature. And the fact that they were very organic in nature provided an opportunity for the state of Washington, but also it provided a challenge. And the challenge happened around liability. And their major concern was around how people could actively provide transportation for their neighbor to neighbor, going from, getting a person from where they are to where they needed to go. And then, but also providing the safety net so that both drivers and passengers were protected in some manner. And so they felt as though in this time period that it was essential that we create some kind of a guidebook within our state that addressed the issue of volunteers and made sure that those that really wanted to provide transportation were able to do so. And in this particular group of people, just so you know who was at the table, was the Washington State Department of Transportation, two aspects of our Department of Social and Health Services, both the Aging and Adult Services, and it was called that at that time, and also their Medical Assistance Administration. We have a Washington State Transit Insurance Pool. Obviously, they are the risk managers for our transit agencies across the state. And the Washington Utilities and Transportation Commission, which oversees commercial transportation, and then nonprofits that were already providing these volunteer driver programs. And so and there were a number of them, 7 or 8, that sat at the table, and many of them were large organizations, such as Catholic Community Services in our state, which is quite large, and several transit agencies. So having said that, the history of this is really important, which is one of the reasons why it's very near and dear to our heart. And so when we realized that we needed to do an update, because it hadn't been updated since 2013, we went to National RTAP because, to be honest with you, we didn't have the dollars to really invest in the update. And I personally felt as though it was really important that volunteer driver programs had the kind of support on a national level, and that the document could be updated to provide a national perspective. And so in saying that, that gives you at least a little context as to where this came from, why we even felt as though we needed to do it in the early 2000s in Washington State, and why today we felt it was a very important thing for all of us to take a look at and provide to be honest with you, to provide a roadmap for agencies and organizations that really wanted to create a volunteer program. And as I alluded to a minute ago, this is the basis of transportation. This is, I want to take my neighbor from where they live next door to me, and I want to take them to a medical appointment, or I want to take them grocery shopping, or I have a group of people that are really interested in making sure that our neighbors can get from where they are to those essential appointments. To be honest with you, that is where volunteer driver programs start. And so this guide is intended to be at the very ground level, the very level that is people that are asking the question, I just want to take my neighbors and make sure that they are covered in terms of their transportation. And of course, in rural areas, and Texas is a big place, and I know you have lots of rural areas, as we do in Washington State. We have a lot of places that don't have ready transportation. So neighbor to neighbor it becomes very, very important. And if we can find ways to support this work, then as states, we can continue to maybe even fund these kinds of programs. Now that's another conversation entirely, because this one really deals with just the ground level of people who are talking to their neighbors. So you can go on to the next slide, and I'm going to buzz through a lot of these, and hopefully I'm going to be able to bring up my some of my examples. So you can go to the next slide. I've pretty much gone over this. I will say that our partners in this work was National RTAP, as I mentioned, Washington State DOT, and Colorado Association of Transit Agencies. And the only reason we really worked together was because everyone saw this need. Great document. This document, the original document, the 2013 document, has been literally sent around the world. People have looked at it in places as far-flung as Australia, and across our country, and in Europe and Asia. So people are looking at this document, and so it was worth updating. We did have we worked with KFH, and the KFH group, which I know several are in Texas, as well as other places in the country. And then we worked with National Aging and Disability Transportation Center, Carrie Diamond, as well as Easter Seals, and my cohort, part of my cohort here in Washington State, Stacy Saw, who is one of the sort of premier mobility managers in the country. She's pretty amazing. So you can keep going. This is just a welcome. What we do want to talk about, though, here is, you can go on to the next slide, is the how to use this toolkit. And this is where I wanted to go specifically to the National RTAP website. So now I really am going to try to share my screen. And if you could make me a presenter real quick, because it says, ask the organizer to make me a presenter. So if you could do that real quick, and then I will go to there. Hopefully my tabs will be exactly what they need to be, because this doesn't show me what I need. Let's see, there we go. That's what I wanted. All right. So I'm going to wait until you tell me that you can see what I've just put up on the screen.
We can see it.
Perfect. This is the National RTAP website. And I wanted to show this to you in real time because I think it's really important that you understand what the toolkit looks like and how to navigate it, because it's important that when you're talking to folks that are interested in volunteer driver programs, you can direct them accurately. So the National RTAP website is nationalrtap.org. And then from there, you would go to resources and then here to volunteer driver program toolkit, which takes you to this page. This is just introductory. I'm going to scroll down. You can see it shows a table of contents here. And I do apologize if it's not super big for you, but each one of these aspects of the table of contents are links that take you to various pages. But what I did want to show you is at the bottom here of this page. And it's in the PowerPoint presentation, but it's not as complete as what you're seeing on the screen. So I did want to show it to you this way. We organize this toolkit in a manner such that if you are a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced provider of volunteer driver programs, if you're just starting out, we've given you a whole grid of information that you should be concerned about and you should look into. Hopefully at some point in the near future, these will be actual links in the guidebook itself, in the toolkit itself. But you can see here at the beginner level, we have the skill level in this first column, and then all of the sections in the toolkit that are aspects of volunteer driver programs. So there's an overview, there's important information about riders, there is establishing and managing a volunteer pool, there is a day-to-day operations column, a section for program records, and then a host of case studies from across the country, and then an appendix, which includes all kinds of things, including various handbooks and guides for volunteers, for riders, there's insurance resources. And we, again, took this from a Washington State-centric guidebook into a toolkit that really addresses what is out there in the country right now. And there are lots of incredible examples. And then models, including forms and templates of policies and procedures that people can use. And if I scroll down here, you can see the intermediate level includes more details in all of those areas. And same for the advanced, except in the area of the third part here, it's about lessons learned. It's what people already know and the information that they want to share with everyone. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute. Am I going to do that? Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. Let's go back to the PowerPoint real quick. And thank you. I'm trying to keep track of time. How much time do we have until 8:15, 8:30? I'm sorry, that's 8:30 Pacific time. 10:30 your time?
Yes.
Okay, I want to be respectful of your time. Okay, perfect. You can go on because we've just talked about the intermediate and the advanced. So keep going on the toolkit. Keep going. And you can see again in our second section here, go back to section 2. The topics in the second section are volunteer driver programs and sponsoring organizations. By the way, in Washington State, what we found and what was a recommendation from that very early document was that volunteer driver programs really needed a sponsoring organization. We have many nonprofits that sponsor volunteer driver programs. One that I know is across the country, and while we don't fund it today, we have in the past, but the Ride to Recovery with the I'm sorry, the name, the American Cancer Society, is a huge volunteer driver program, and we have provided funding for them in the past. And they, the American Cancer Association, has sponsored volunteer driver programs for many, many, many years. In Washington State, our programs, Ride to Recovery programs, are enormous. They have hundreds of volunteers. And so that particular aspect is something to really be considering when you're talking to people and they're saying, I just want to provide a ride to my neighbor. directing them to an organization that may want to sponsor something like that. They may have existing transportation, et cetera, is a really good move. So again, volunteer driver programs, we've talked a little bit about risk management and how that was a primary focus for Washington State, making sure that we understood what the risks were for volunteers and how we could mitigate some of those risks. Certainly, we have made efforts in statute here in Washington State around that very issue. So, community relations policies and procedures, you can go to the next slide. This identifies section 3, which is important information about riders. Who are they? How do you register them? How do you collect information? What information do you need? And going on, you can go on to the next one. In section 4, now we're talking about establishing the volunteer driver pool, which we touched on a few minutes ago. I know that volunteer recruitment is a huge issue across the country, and we continue to work on that. You can go to the next slide. As I said, I'm going to kind of buzz through these because I'm going to share with you a couple of other things. Then the day-to-day operations, including trip plans, scheduling. We also talk about software opportunities. A lot of volunteer driver programs, I will tell you, are still using paper and pencil and the regular phone lines to schedule rides. I have a small volunteer driver program in a very remote area, which is a series of islands up in Northwest Washington, and that's how they do things. They have paper scheduling, they have phone calls, all of their drivers have cell phones. It's a very low level, easy entry way to do a volunteer driver program. You can go on. And then records, of course, what would be records that you would need to keep? This is an interesting conversation because states want to have a conversation, especially if there is funding involved. Not all volunteer driver programs, however, receive state funding of any kind or even at a very high level federal funding. So it's an interesting way of going, knowing and understanding about what those records are that you need to keep. Obviously, metrics are part of that, and performance metrics, particularly if you're looking for funding opportunities, being able to support the number of rides you've taken, the number of trips, the number of miles. And it's interesting in volunteer driver programs, the numbers of miles are enormous because oftentimes volunteer driver programs are working in rural areas where going from point A to point B can be as much as hundreds of miles. So you can go on here. Oh, the case studies. Now, this is where I really want to stop for just a second. And once again, I'm going to, as soon as I find my cursor, there we go. I want to share with you in real time on the web our case studies. So once again, can I be the presenter? Thank you for doing this. This is not a, thank you very much. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I think this is where I want to be. Not quite, hang on. There. Yes. Okay, this is where I want to be. All right. Dismiss this. Okay, great. Oh, I'm sorry, I went to the wrong tab. Let's go to a different tab. Let's see if we can get there. This is where I want to be, so hang on, I've got to choose another one. It's very hard to, because it doesn't allow me to see my page. Hang on. Thank you for your patience. Aha, found it. Thank you for your patience. There we go. So this is once again going back to the website. And here we have the case studies and methodologies. And the reason I wanted to show this to you is because the case studies provide opportunities to see a program in action. And the goal of this section is to not only to provide a look into existing volunteer driver programs, but also to provide access to their websites. And then also, in addition, to provide an overview of these programs, to give the user, the person who's looking at this toolkit, the ability to go, oh, this is an element of a volunteer driver program that we would like to include in this new program that we're doing. So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, and you can see here that we have right now 8 different individual case studies from across the country: Colorado, Florida, Michigan, Nevada, Portland, Oregon, Texas, and Seattle, Washington, and Wisconsin. And then the common themes around those programs, what makes them work, what makes them successful, and what are some of the considerations that they have in terms of their risk management, their software, etc., and then some of their lessons learned. So it's a really great section. It's a wonderful place for you as state administrators to take a look at and go, oh gosh, maybe this volunteer program would be a very low level, low risk option in a particular area of your state that might not be available to transit itself, larger transits, or even a small urban or a rural transit. And so those individual case studies, we take you directly to their descriptions, and you can see what they provide. In this case, this is Saint in Loveland, Colorado, 140 volunteers. They provided, in 2018, the program provided 32,000 rides. After the pandemic, they provided about 19,000 rides to about 500 community members in 2 cities. So this kind of information is really helpful information. And then it talks about the program structure. It gives the rider eligibility. It gives maps of their service area, how they schedule, what they do for funding, what their driver eligibility, just a big overview of each of these programs. And once again, this is on a national level, so we're seeing programs across the country. This particular toolkit we hope to be adding to, because there are more really great programs out there. The other thing that this shows is how a program started and how it can scale from neighbor to neighbor to a full-on program where you do have more than 50 volunteers or even more than 25 volunteers. So this is really great. And then in addition, what we do after this on the website, and I'm sorry, I'm scrolling very quickly here. I should let you stop and look at those great pictures of people riding the services, which is always wonderful to see. But what we also provide is access to the services website and then the contact information so that an individual or a group could reach out to that particular service and really talk with them themselves. And we wanted to make sure that it was very person to person, again, in keeping with the organic nature of volunteer driver programs. So this is a very important thing to us at National RTAP, and something that I think we've been very successful in creating in this update of the toolkit. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint, and I'm going to try and finish up and then take your questions. Again, there's a lot in the PowerPoint that refers back to the National RTAP website. So that's really where I'm hoping to point you to. In the PowerPoint, you'll find many, many links as well. You certainly, and it is intended as an overview. You can go on to the next slide. And so if you want to go into the PowerPoint, you certainly can do that. Again, each one of these links that you see right here in section 7 on the PowerPoint will take you directly to the website of those programs. So you can go on from there and keep going. And here's where I want to stop. By the way, this particular version of this PowerPoint focused, we presented it in Seattle. And so we focused on the community van program. We tried to get very local, as we did at National RTAP presenting one of your programs in Texas. So this particular one, however, is a rather unique program, and I did want to highlight it because among the programs that we showed in the toolkit, the community van program is sponsored by King County Metro. King County is the most populous county in the state of Washington with a large urban transit. King County Metro is the large urban transit. And they developed a program using 5310 funding wherein they purchased accessible vans. They all have lifts. They're all accessible. They're vans and actually larger vans. So these are like, these are Chrysler minivans. And then I believe they have larger up to 12 passenger vans, and all of them are accessible. The reason I'm telling you this is what they did is provided an opportunity in the communities that are within the King County Metro service area, primarily areas that are underserved, that do not have really good transit connections. And so the point of this, it's almost like a King County Metro rent a car for a day. But the driver is a volunteer driver. The passengers utilize what we call our ORCA card. It's our 5-county, actually it's more than that, many counties now, all-in-one transit system card that provides fares, and it's very inexpensive for people to ride. So you have a volunteer driver. They can take up to 2 passengers, they can take 2 passengers as a minimum plus themselves. And for the passengers, it costs them anywhere between $2 a ride to $1 a ride if you're low income. So to go on to the next slide, and there's a little video that I wanted to show you, and you guys can click on it if you will, making sure the sound is on. You can keep going. You can take a look at Metro's policies and why they did this and how people access it. And here's our little video. So if you can click on that, you should be able to bring it up. It's really short, I promise. Do you have the sound on for everyone? Are you hearing the sound? No? Okay. Can you stop the video? Because it's actually really cute. Can you, on your end, because I'm not working on this, can you turn on the sound for presentations? I have it
Marianna,
turned on my side.
Oh, I see.
We're working on it.
Okay, cool. I promise the video is really short. But it's worth seeing. It's cute. And it gives a message. Okay, so very quick, even if you couldn't hear the sound, it just has a really cute little soundtrack. But highly recommend, again, this is one way that a transit agency has sponsored a volunteer driver program and funded it through federal funds, which is a very unique, something unique in volunteer driver programs. You can go ahead, excuse me, and go on. I believe we've only got a couple slides left, which is basically some acknowledgement. There we go, that's the end. And then we have, again, as I mentioned, section 7 with the lessons learned. Also, the appendix, by the way, has a lot of great information, flyers, handbooks, training, a variety of forms that various organizations are using. You can go ahead and go forward. All of this is in the toolkit. And then, of course, the templates themselves for policies and procedures. And then a glossary and any additional resources. We've got a lot of people doing a lot of really great work out there around volunteer driver programs. So again, that's the presentation. You may or may not have any questions. To say that I'm proud of this work is, you know, I just continue to just glow because I'm so excited. But I also know that volunteer driver programs are a mystery in some organizations, and people don't know how to approach it. So again, our goal here is to provide this roadmap for individuals and organizations to get started and really continue to grow those programs. Let me make one parenthesis. Right now, through the Transportation Research Board, NCHRP, and I can't remember the acronym, it's the national, I just can't remember right off the top. I'm sitting on a committee right now on a research project that is being completed to provide guidance to states around volunteer driver programs. So the toolkit itself is for the user, those people that are putting together volunteer driver programs. The NCHRP research project that is underway right now will address how do states address and work with volunteer driver programs. That research should be published by this time next year. We're in the middle phase of the research, and they are using the volunteer driver toolkit from National RTAP as one of their research sources. So hold on if you're as a state program manager or state agency head, and you're trying to figure out how to work with this. The best thing I can tell you right now is call us up here in Washington State. We can talk. Otherwise, hang on, because the NCHRP project will be coming your way soon. And in that particular study, we have focused on state DOTs. So there we go. That is the end. Now, do you have any questions?
Any questions for Marianna? George.
Is there a fee to get access to their webpage or to register for their web information?
So,
Marianna, did you catch the question?
Go ahead. Say again.
I just wanted to make sure you got the question.
I thought I heard access to the website and toolkit and also the webinar. Is that correct?
If there's a fee associated.
There is no fee. That's the beauty. National Rural Transit Assistance Program is a function of, it is a technical service center funded by the Federal Transit Administration, and its sole purpose is to provide education and support training for rural and tribal transportation. And that includes nonprofits, that includes governmental agencies, tribes, obviously, and folks that are working in rural areas. So none of this costs anything. That's the beauty. If you go to the National RTAP website, you'll find it is full of toolkits that address issues in rural transportation, rural and tribal transportation. So that's the great news. It's free. Free is good.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, especially right now, boy, you know, anytime we can save ourselves some dollars, we're in good shape.
And Marianna, isn't there a webinar coming up regarding in-depth use of that toolkit?
Absolutely. I'm not sure you're going to get it. Well, you're going to hear from the consultants, and you're going to hear basically this, this particular PowerPoint. So you kind of got a preview of what is going to be in the webinar, although the Q&A may be a little different and we may adjust it for the audience. And that particular webinar will be happening on February 12th, 2026. And I don't know if I can do this. Let's see if I can find it. I have to find it and see. I know it's been in the National RTAP newsletter, which means I have a link, but I don't have it right at my fingertips, but I can send it to you.
I can include that link in the follow-up email to everybody because I did register for that webinar myself.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be great if you would do that. And you're welcome, of course, to join us. We want anyone and everyone. And if you have organizations that are considering volunteer driver programs, you know of someone or, again, a group of people that are looking into this as a solution for a particular rural area, we invite you to have them come to the table and listen in. You just never know what will envision people to take the next step in helping their neighbor. So.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Marianna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful, Happy New Year, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
You as well.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And moving on to item number 7, discussion item regarding an update to the FY 2027-2031 Regional Public Transit Coordination Plan. Anita.
Thank you. Get back to my PowerPoint here. And if you don't have your packet, it's actually on page 53. We did send out our request for proposal through the by board a second time, and we only received, I think it was 4 responses. And of those 4 responses, there was not an organization that focused on public transit. So at this time, we are writing a request for proposal, and we're going to work outside of the by board. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes. So while that was taking place, we actually did take some surveys, and so here's a summary inside of your packet and also online. We started off over in with Helping Hands Ministry in Belton, and then we went to the Milam County Triad 2025 Senior Expo, and we also was able to participate. Thank you to Susie and George for inviting us over to the Bell County Pediatric Resource Network meeting. So we had 2 different surveys for these types of outreach. One was directed toward the transit user, the citizen, and the other one was towards provider. And so if you look out on the screen here, basically the transit providers, they gave us, we had 42 samples, and of those 42 responses, 26 came from Bell County, 9 from Milam, Lanhouses had 2, Coyle had 3, and there was a smaller portion, sample size, from non-counties outside of our region. And what the people really were telling us is that 29 of those respondents chose to drive their personal vehicle because it was, they had easier access. But then 11 of those, or excuse me, 21, and so you'll see that we had 42 respondents. And so on some of these questions, we gave them the option to select multiple choices, because if they couldn't get their car or they were a 0-car household, they shared rides with family. 21 respondents shared rides with family or needed rides from family. 11 walked and 10 relied on public transit. And what they said would make the biggest difference would be extended service hours. 19% requested extended service hours outside of the 8 to 5. More routes, expanded coverage, more frequent services, affordable fares, 7%, better accessibility, that was 7%, and then real-time schedule info, that was about 5%, and that had to do with having access to the apps and technology. So it wasn't that we weren't doing what we could do, it was that they did not have access to technology or internet or smartphones. And 5% of those 42 respondents talked about reliability. But I think that for us, where the real change came in is when we were able to speak with the Bell County Pediatric Association or Network, excuse me, and they did the survey and they shared it out with their colleagues. I think this really had some of the biggest responses that really talked more about what we could do to improve transit for the clients. And this right here, there were only 14, but if you think about 14 providers in healthcare, even on Fort Hood, a case manager on Fort Hood, faith-based services, child care and parenting support, and public safety. We had one public safety, I think it was a sheriff, fill out the survey. The client characteristics that they serve were low-income households, seniors 65 and older, youth, zero-car households, and people experiencing homelessness and limited English proficiency. And their barriers were that service does not go to where the clients need, service hours don't align with appointments, the cost of fare or gas was too high for them, accessibility challenges related to disability or mobility issues. And the key takeaways from those particular surveys are coverage and hours, not just like technology alone, but that was really like they need more help with their technology, and many of them are willing to learn on the technology side if they had access to it. So that was a barrier. And education, accessibility, social services, the big barriers were healthcare, workforce, social services, and public safety. As we continue to wait for our RFP to get back so that we can complete our FY 27 to 31, we'll continue to do the public engagement as well as stakeholder engagement out in the communities. And so we're looking for Coryell County, Lampasas County, I think, Coryell, Lampasas, San Saba, and Mills. So those are the areas that we want to reach, not just the residents and users of public transit, but also providers of care. Do y'all have any questions regarding that? Yes.
Okay,
Phyllis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I spent the majority of my youth with special ed.
Mm-hmm.
The high school kids, the kids were in high school and they graduated, they had jobs that they would go to. Years prior, the hospital would provide transportation for them to go to work because that allowed them some independence, because the key thing we wanted them to have is some independence. But that no longer exists. So they've been reduced to not going to work, or parents trying to play around with their schedules to get them to work. So we need to provide back with them. They need a way to get to work because that was part of their independence and, getting on the bus, paying their little fare, and going to work, but they got taken away from them. We have a huge population of special needs people.
And so that's the population you're speaking about,
Yes.
is the special needs
Yes.
that need transportation. Yes. And I think also, is a Goodwill representative still here?
She had to step out.
She had to step out, yeah. I think that that's a partnership that we can look at, but she is actually very interested in becoming a part of our group because of that population need and transportation.
Phyllis, in what city are you representing that this?
Actually, it will be Bell County,
Bell County.
but Killeen especially.
Killeen especially. We'll hear later on from Hill Country Transit, give a quarterly report that may be able to address some of those issues with micro transit. So hold on to that and may address some of that for you. Happy to. Sure. Moving on to discussion item number 8 regarding coordination and implementation of the FY25 Regional Public Transportation Coordination Plan. Ashlynn?
Sorry, I'm getting to this one.
We're working our way over to this.
Okay, so the open rates for October, November, and December saw a little bit of a decline. We're assuming likely due to the holidays, a lot of people not being in office or just having larger workloads. The newsletter gained 4 new subscribers during November through the landing page. That's the button at the top that says, I would like to subscribe to the newsletter. And then we had a provider and public survey that gathered 24 new subscribers. I believe that was in December, Anita?
Yes.
And then for the November and December newsletters, we kept them intentionally shorter to accommodate the holiday season, just because people are busy, out of office. They don't want to read a really long newsletter. Both editions featured holiday-themed colors, schemes, and we tried to coordinate images that went along with those. We also included a selection of educational information for those. So here's the graph with just the data from the opens, open rate, desktop, mobile clicks, click rate, bounces, unsubscribes, and new subscribers. And this is just the graph with those numbers as well.
And as part of that, the surveys that we did for the providers, we will be implementing and developing a public comment log, because we did have 2 public comments from those stakeholder surveys, and we did send those over to Hill Country Transit District, and we're able to connect I think it was a social worker and actually Goodwill workforce to Hill Country Transit District. But we thought that as part of the implementation activities, we did create that public comment log so that you could see where the comments are coming from, who's commenting, and how we're addressing some of those unmet needs.
All right, thank you, Anita and Ashlynn, appreciate that. Discussion item number 9 regarding recognizing World Transit Day, July 16, 2026, with a proclamation and actionable activities for World Transit Day. So, Anita.
Thank you. As Ben mentioned, World Transit Day is July 16, 2026. If that's something that y'all are interested in promoting through a proclamation, a resolution, we can do that. One of the things that I think is really important, if that's something that you want to address, is that we would actually have an actionable item that we would participate in. It wouldn't just be a resolution on paper. It's like we would be doing something. I don't know any ideas y'all have for discussion. Free rides, I know that you love to give out free rides, Tony. You have possible comments over there. But just a thought, though. Any ideas, if y'all want to pursue that, we can add it to the next agenda and then escalate it up through the executive committee. But it would be a region-wide effort.
Anita?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to point out that we did something unique here with our parking support group a couple of weeks ago, where they were able to use a microtransit, get picked up here, go to Belton, and then come back. Maybe something like that for our senior centers to do on the 16th. We could do a day like that and do it in all our rule for both our partners and promote that. And we have Hill Country that that runs the centers, they could help coordinate this.
And how is that funded, George? How is that funded?
Well, I think we can talk about, how it's just, is it a way to promote any, like just to really just taking downtown just to get a feel for it or something, or in any of those places, or is that a discussion?
We'd have to see. I mean, I think London's got a bigger area than transit.
But if we're just talking about just a local, just get a feel for it, come see what it's like to get in the bus, go downtown, come back, kind of thing.
We can probably look at something like that. Sure.
Spot,
Yeah.
I'll address some of that in just a minute.
I was gonna say with George, maybe if they got to try it out for a day, for a time period, maybe it would increase the odds of them using it easier. I don't know, again, how it's funded, but yeah, possibility of trying it out.
I'm just curious, and I don't know if this is an allowable conversation. It's not me, if it's not.
Hey, just throw it out there.
What if we try to bring a funding organization to the table to help promote this so that you're not bearing the expense? And you're not bearing the expense. Someone like a third party like United Way, or maybe a church, or someone.
Maybe TxDOT, I don't know.
Yes, TxDOT. Yeah.
Are they on the line?
Yeah.
TxDOT?
Yes, so just a thought.
I think what we're going for is if there's an appetite for this group to participate in a function and do a proclamation or resolution, I think that's what we're looking for so that we know how to gear up for the next meeting, have further conversations on what that activity looks like, and then discuss next steps and who the key stakeholders need to be in planning of that event or those events across the 7-county region.
I agree with that. Also, I think an event catered towards a larger senior population would be helpful. It's just where are they going to? That's gonna be a trigger point for them. If they're going to a party, then that might be something that they want to go to, a mall. There's not a lot of places for them to go from point to point, so that probably needs to be a discussion in some of our rural areas. Most of them are going from their home to the senior center and back.
And something else to keep in mind, going back to Anita's survey outcome, the comments, is that some of these folks don't know how to use the app or connect that way. So maybe that might be part of the day, the activity, show them how to use it and go from point A to point B, just like you said, Melissa, to get them used to using it. I think once you break the ice there, then it's broken. And they may begin to use it a little bit more because that fear factor of, I don't know how to use the technology. I don't know how to get started. I think once we show them how to get started, you'll see more activity. I think there's an appetite, at least in my mind, for something like that.
And not just the people that are using the app, the support people around them also, because when we're not there, they need people to go to if they forgot how to use the app.
Right, good point, Stephanie. Any other discussion on this?
For us, when we do these types of events, a lot of our vehicle manufacturers are willing to sponsor those types of days. So whether it's, using the transit or, whether it's one of our vehicles or something, our manufacturers will actually sponsor that entire trip that day to get their name presented.
That makes sense.
So I think if we open it up, we're thinking, TxDOT and these others, but sometimes our vehicle manufacturers, they're out there and sometimes they have, spending budgets.
It's good exposure for them too.
Absolutely.
Okay, good idea. Okay, think something further to discuss next time?
I'll add it to the agenda.
Discussion item number 10 regarding quarterly update from Central Texas Rural Transit District. Rhonda?
Well, our rides have picked up quite a bit in all of our counties. This quarter, Sensata had 506 trips. Mills County had 833, and Hamilton had 940. So that's pretty good. We're finally starting to see some improvement in ridership.
Congratulations.
Yes. We're excited about that. And now we're currently working with Hill Country to start the process for land passes. We have a public meeting scheduled for January 21st with the senior citizens in in land passes. If any of you would like to attend, we'll be taking public comment to see what the needs are, what directions individuals need to go, so that whenever we do start service on March 1st, we will have an idea of where we need to send drivers and how that's going to work, just like we did with the other counties. So anybody who's willing to come, it's at 10 a.m. Senior citizens and land passes.
What date was that?
At the 25th.
Rhonda, can you give us an idea of what that increase was like the prior quarter for those counties?
It was significant. I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say we more than doubled.
Wow.
But now that the medical transportation is getting more and more known, we're getting more and more rides for the medical transportation as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Discussion item number 11 regarding quarterly update from Hill Country Transit District.
Yeah, my apologies, the actual report didn't get put into the packet, so.
Mine either.
I think our, James Whittam usually does that. He was gone, excuse me, a couple of weeks prior to the holidays, and I think we just dropped the ball on getting that in there. But I did look up a few numbers here before I left the office. So again, reminder, we report a quarter in arrears. So we're really reporting third quarter numbers, which were July, August, and September. October, November, December. December just ended, so we don't have our December numbers all yet. But from the third quarter, ridership was 521,636 riders all in, which is a pretty good number. That's a real good number, actually. I know that the end of the year, so when we do have all of our December numbers in, all in for, and when I say all in, I'm talking about rural, urban, Fort Cavazos, et cetera. It will be over 700,000 for the year in terms of ridership. So really good numbers and vast improvements over past years. We are projecting for 26 will probably be somewhere just under 1 million riders in that category this time next year. So good numbers. Tony laid some flyers out up here on the front about the expansions, which went into effect January 1st. So you can pick these flyers up. One of them is for Harker Heights and Killeen, and it shows a little map in gold. It shows the expansion area. Another one is for Temple. Same thing, you can see the expanded area in gold there. Same thing for Belton with an expansion area. And notice I didn't mention Copper's Cove. That's because we did not expand in a service area in Copper's Cove. And the reason, it's one of those, it's a good problem to have situations. Our vehicles are just at capacity there already with the service area that we